Okay, we're live now. Okay. Waiting for a few people to see if we get some live viewers in so we can go ahead and get started. We have a very interesting interview today. Very interesting interview, and we have interesting questions for our interviewee as well. Okay, guys, today we're going to interview. We had a surprise interview for everybody, our audience, our viewers today. It's a podcast Wednesday, so we had to bring you something special, especially following up our last interview with County Attorney AJ Iracheta and District Attorney Roberto Serna. So today we have a special interview for you guys. Attorney Edgar H. Juarez. I know you guys have probably, anybody with a Facebook, anybody with social media has seen Attorney Edgar H. Juarez. I mean, in the past month or so, he's been literally everywhere, guys. And I know you guys can attest to that if you check your Facebook regularly. In a few counties, not just Maverick County, we've seen Mr. Juarez up and down, making appearances here and there. And we're kind of curious as to why. So we scheduled this interview so you guys can get to know the man, the myth, the attorney, Edgar H. Juarez. We'll go ahead and bring him up now. Without any further ado, Attorney Edgar H. Juarez to say hi to all y'all. Hey, Edgar, how you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, Isaac. How about yourself? How are you doing this evening?
Good, good. I want to thank you first of all for showing up, agreeing to come out on our show. We really appreciate that. We do have people that do not like to turn up or do not respond to our requests, so we really respect and thank you for showing up tonight.
Well, I do have to thank you as well. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to reach your audience, to talk to the people. I would tell you this, Isaac. I am very impressed with what you're doing. I log on and some of these interviews. In fact, right now when you mentioned, I said, "Oh man, those are big shoes that I'm gonna have to fill," because the last interview you had, and it was the Honorable Roberto Serna and our district attorney and also our county attorney AJ Iracheta, and that interview I thought was phenomenal. Amongst the other interviews that you do, the other reporting that you do, I congratulate you for what you do in the sense that you want to go out and seek the truth. And for that, I thank you.
No, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Of course, we do have the other side of the, wanting to seek the truth is the people that really don't want you to spread the truth. And I guess it comes with the territory, right?
No, I hear you, Isaac. And I will say this as a disclaimer. Everybody has difference of opinion, and I respect it. And I'm going to be the first one to say, like, people say, like, "Oh, you're going on that Isaac Reese show. That's despicable," and this and that. And I will tell you, I don't agree 100% with what Isaac Reese believes. I have my own views, but that does not mean that we cannot discuss these issues and bring them out. And if there's a disagreement, there's a disagreement. But I think what's important is instead of arguing and fighting it, hey, let's have a civil a discussion about it. And at the end of the day, if we can agree that we don't agree, then so be it. But I think in our democratic process, it's important. And so I commend you for what you're doing.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get right into it.
Certainly.
Edgar, I know you've been an attorney for quite some time now, and I think a lot of people do not really understand that Edgar H. Juarez has been an attorney serving our community for a lot longer than you've been. People have been seeing you recently pop up on several events and all that. But there is a story behind the man, right? There is a reason why and everything. And you're not originally from Eagle Pass, are you?
No, no, I am not. And that's interesting you say that because and it's very humbling. I am out and about, and people now recognize me. And I'll tell you, if you see me out in the community and you want to uh, say hello to me. I think sometimes people will see me and maybe not come up to me, but I do. It's very humbling when they do, and so it happens to me now more often. But one of the comments that I do get is, for some reason, people seem to think that I've only been practicing 3 to 4 months or 5 months, because that's what I've really done this. I want to call it a campaign to get my name out. And for that reason, people think that I've only practiced for some time, and it's not that. I've actually been an attorney for 18 years, over 18 years actually. And you're right. I am not originally from Eagle Pass, Texas, but I would tell you, I feel that I am from Eagle Pass, Texas, and I'll explain to you in a bit. But no, you're absolutely correct.
No, yeah, and I think that's one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have, is that, like, oh wow, we have a new attorney in Eagle Pass in our community, Attorney Edgar H. Juarez, and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up. That way, you can mention to everybody that you have been practicing for such a long time in our community, and we see you now a little bit more, I guess, consistently, a little bit more publicly than we have before. So my question would be, Edgar, what kind of services do you provide for our community as an attorney? I know a lot of attorneys usually practice a broad sense, and some have specialties. What would you say your specialty is, and what kind of members of the community are you reaching out to with your practice?
Certainly. Very good question, and I appreciate that question. I would tell you, well, first off, out of those 18 years that I've been practicing, I have been here since basically 2010. And so that's 11 years that I've served this community as an attorney. And if you ever see my ads, my signs, aside from the slogan that I use, Justicia con Juarez, what you're going to see is that on my signs, I say that I do criminal, that I also do divorces, and in my ad, I also throw in car accidents. But I would tell you, primarily, what I do as an attorney is I do a lot of family law and also criminal defense. So I represent individuals that are seeking to take care of family matters, and that includes divorces, that includes child support, things of that nature. You want to get your name changed, you want to adopt somebody, you want to terminate somebody's rights, and so I do the family aspect. Aside from that, I also do criminal defense. Now, in regards to criminal defense, I represent those that have been charged with an offense, those that have allegedly committed an offense. And so sometimes I represent people that are very, very guilty, and sometimes I represent people that are very, very innocent. But one of the things that I try to do in that, it's not so much like trying to get people off, but what at the end of everything is what I want is that justice is met, and that ties in with my slogan that I use. I always say, and you'll hear me say this, Justicia con Juarez. And so in those regards, what I am trying to do as an attorney is seeking justice for individuals, even those that have made mistakes in their life. And what I mean by that, it's sometimes the answer is not let's throw away the key and lock them up, but sometimes the answer is rehabilitation. And in those cases, when it's applicable, I'm able to help those individuals. Aside from that, if you have a car accident, give me a call, or any case that you have. If you have any legal questions, if I'm not able to answer them, I can certainly send you in the right direction. And as you can see, that's the little crawler that's coming down. that says Law Office of Edgar H. Juarez. That's my number. It's 830-752-0686.
No, yeah, great information. We appreciate that. Now, I mean, Edgar, you've been practicing here. You said for the past 11 years, and that's great. I think that especially what attorneys do here in our community is much needed, because we do have things that happen in our community. People need to be defended. People need to be. I mean, we just had. Let's touch on a recent case that just got dismissed in the courts with our good friend that comes on the show a couple of times, Mr. Banda, where he was. I'm not sure if you're up to date on what happened, but he was arrested. He was sent to jail, and I think he got an attorney, the Ramos law firm, and he was able to get the case dismissed against him for harassment. So these are the types of things that attorney Edgar H. Juarez can help the community with, correct?
Right, and you're absolutely right. And I will tell you this: kudos to my colleague, the Ramos law firm. Yes, him and I guess you can say we're in direct competition because we do handle the same cases. But I think that when you're in a situation where justice is served, then we appreciate and I am the type of person that if I see that someone does well, then I congratulate them. And so it's my understanding that that Mr. Vanda was in some type of accused of an offense, and that the Ramos law firm was able to help him out. And so yes, those are the types of services that I provide. And I'm a little bit jealous that they beat me to it. Maybe I could have helped Mr. Banda, but so be it.
No, yeah. I mean, I think that it's admirable the way you approach it. That at least justice was served. Maybe you didn't get to be the deliverer of that justice and helping him out, but at least you can appreciate the fact that things went the way they should have in that particular case. One of the things that we want to ask, it's been a hot topic here in Maverick County recently, with the recent redistricting in the county. Are you familiar with what went on?
Believe it or not, I am. One of the things, Isaac, and I have made no secret about this, politics interests me. I follow politics in our community. And I'm going to tell you why, Isaac. So when I got to Eagle Pass, and I want to share this very quickly, I believe that I belong to this community, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when I got here, I raised my children here. I have 2 adult children now. One of them is 18 years old, and his name is Roman. And then I have a daughter. She's 21 years old, and her name is Madeline. And when I first got to Eagle Pass, I raised them here, and this is my home. And they went through the schooling system here. And so as one of the things that when we got here, one of the things that I noticed, Isaac, was that it just seemed like when I first got here that if you didn't know somebody, then you got left behind. And I don't get me wrong, it happens in every community, and I think people are tired of that, and I think people really want change. And so from the get-go, I thought, you know what? The only way that I'm gonna make a difference in that is that I need to get involved with my community. And so one of the things that I did when I first got here is I enrolled my children right in the public schools, and my daughter, she went to Graves Elementary. And a lot of people don't know this, but I was actually a PTO president of Graves Elementary. And so I was able to help the community. But at that time, I really wanted to get involved with the community, but people didn't really know of me, even though I was involved with the community, like through those organizations. I mean, we did countless fundraisers. We raised money for different departments within the school. And I remember one of the things that we did is we raised money and we were able to help the guy that the maintenance individuals. They said, you know what, Mr. Juarez, they needed some little bit of supplies because there was a project that they wanted to do, and and for whatever reason they wanted to do it sooner than later, and things of that nature. Also, so some of the other, like the special ed teachers, they wanted to, hey, with a PTO organization, do this or that, and I was able to help and get involved with that. And then as soon as my kids kept growing up, and I became involved in a lot of different organizations within the community. And the reason for that is because I wanted change. And I've always made it a point to say that I think that change is good. And we're seeing it, Joseph. I'm sorry, I'm seeing it, Isaac, in regards to the change. And it all ties back to what your question is if I knew what was happening. And the reason I know is because aside from that, I have made it no secret. I want to be in public service. I want to be a public servant, and for that, I had to get involved in the political aspect of it. And again, one of the things that I kept seeing over and over again is that if you don't know somebody here, and it goes down to like it was amazing, not only in politics but just like your everyday things like sports, where I thought like how can you be like, how can that happen, but it's true. And so for that reason, yes, I am very familiar with most of the topics that are happening here in regards to politics, because I do want to make a change and I do want to make a difference.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people, and I saw several people mention that. Yeah, they agree that we do see that a lot. And if you don't know somebody, or if you're not with this group, you're out the group. You're outside of the group. And I think that the reason why it's so obvious is because we're still a small community. We're not a Laredo just yet. We're not absolutely not a San Antonio. We're up there now, I think, with Del Rio, which I think we were a little bit behind, not too many years back, but I would even say we're surpassing Del Rio a little bit now. But we're still a tight knit community with a small bunch where you can kind of control or keep power or hold power within certain groups of the community. So absolutely. What did you think about the redistricting?
Well, and that's an interesting question. And so my position is in that it's that um, I don't I haven't studied the issue enough whether something was done legally or not legally, and I don't want to address that aspect of it, and obviously because I'm an attorney, and so we always do our due diligence. That's important, but I don't want to avoid the question, and what the answer that I'm giving is that I don't think the way they went around it was the right way. I don't. And I've been in the past been a subject to things of that notices get sent out very late on a Friday evening in regards to what's going to happen within the commissioner's court. I've been experienced that in where I'm waiting for something to be brought up in commissioner's court, and then it gets set up at the last minute. And so again, if you're gonna do this, let's just be transparent about it. You know what I'm saying? No se vale. No, it's not fair. I mean, and again, just because something, and then the thing is that, well, we did it legally, but it's just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it. And what I hear is that because of it, of the rezoning, it took some people, moved them to different uh, uh, precincts, and so again, like it's like, well, wait a minute, what a coincidence, why is this happening? And then um, that's when you start questioning these things. And I see Ippolito make a comment. I've never seen a lawyer more honest than you. And I will tell you this: thank you so much, because sometimes attorneys we get the bad end of the stick. In fact, you know that the professions that they say that are least trusted, the least trusted professions, is number one, attorney, and number two, car salesman. And because yeah, we get this rap. And I will tell you this: I decided a long time ago that I'm just gonna be as honest as possible because of it. And in fact, it's a funny story. I do want to send a shout out to my beautiful wife, Rosa Maria Juarez. She's known as Bibi, and the reason I bring her up is when I first was meeting her, I told her that I was a lawyer, and she made a comment like, "Oh, you're a liar," or something like that. Is it joking? Like, because you hear the jokes over and over, like. The other joke that people will say is like something. If you had 1,000 lawyers drown in the sea, what is that called? And someone says it's a good start. It's you have all these bad lawyer jokes, and because we have gotten the bad end of the stick. And so what happened is I decided, you know what, I'd rather lose a client by telling them the truth and being honest with them than trying to make a quick buck, because that's just not the way I operate. And so Ippolito, I thank you for that. It's a nice compliment. Thank you.
No, yeah. I mean, I can see where attorneys can get bad raps and things like that. But it's refreshing, I believe, and like I said here in some of the comments that we see, they like the approach that you have. They like the style, the upfront, not hiding anything behind the curtains, especially in our community and in Maverick County. I'll go ahead and say it that you keep not you, but the powers that be, I'll say it, like to operate like a Wizard of Oz, I guess is the best kind of thing that I want to, pay no attention to the guy behind the curtain, and things are done out for a reason. And you see, I mean, there's several people out here. I'll go ahead and post them so you can see. I mean, it seems like you got a good amount of support out here.
Isaac, I'm going to tell you this. This is truly very, very humbling. And so one of the things that I decided to do recently is again, it's a campaign that I started, and it was to promote my name. And the reason for it is obviously because I wanted to make a change. The truth be told, I've been doing this for years already. Again, I mentioned that I was a PTO president. I was also, and for many years, and I still continue to be involved in the Mighty Eagle Band Booster organization, and that's the organization of the parents that we support the band, and it's actually a very large group, and so. And why did I do this? The reason that I did this, and I've been doing it for a long time, is because I wanted to reach out and I wanted to make a difference. I was very fortunate being a part of that organization that myself and a set of parents, we would go to the school board year after year after year, asking for things, not for Edgar Juarez, but for things for the students. And I'm very happy that I could say that because of my assertment, along with other people, and it wasn't just me, we were able to, and to this day, continue to do things that brought things to the band. So one of the things that that you notice this year, when both CC Win and Eagle Pass High School played outside where the band was, you saw these beautiful tractor trailers, and that's one of the things that I went to the school board amongst other parents because I felt that it was something that our kids needed. It wasn't for Edgar Juarez, it was for the students. And then and not only does it bring pride to our students, but it also, when you go in out of town and you see like, oh, Eagle Pass, you know, hey, that's Eagle Pass. Before they would be going out in these U-Hauls and raggedy, tractor, these little trailers and stuff. And honestly, like it would be embarrassing, and we would show up to these competitions, and I said, you know what, we need to do this for a change. And in reality, those tractor trailers, even though they were an investment, it actually helped our community because it actually saves money, because of the amount of money that we were that it was costing us for renting all these different U-Hauls to save the state to take these equipments. We actually figured out that at the end it was actually saving. So aside from that, also helped spear a campaign for the band to receive the uniforms. So when both CC Win High School and Eagle Pass High School go out to play, they're in their new uniforms. But the most thing that I'm so proud of in that organization was we were able to bring the building, the construction of the band hall. And the reason that the students needed that is that the band hall for Eagle Pass High School was built when the high school was first built, and I think it was something like 74 students, and we're now 350 students. And so the number, it dramatically increased, but the band hall stayed the same. And so I was able to help that. And the reason that I bring all these up is because I didn't go around telling people, oh, look at Edgar Juarez, he did this and that or this and that. But now that I've started this to expose my name, things that I've done in the past have now been reported on. So somebody made a report about, hey, these tractor trailers are so beautiful. And so somebody asked, well, how did we get this? And then somebody mentioned, hey, well, you know what? It was Attorney Juarez that helped spearhead this. So again, it all goes back to this. I know that you all have seen me lately, and you see a lot of me, and you're absolutely right. But I've been here for a long, long time. I just think I know that recently I one of the reasons that I wanted to do this is because I wanted to expose people, to let them know that it's to know that I'm here, and I'm interested in to being a public servant, and I also want change for our community.
Now, you're also a member of the Maverick County Bar Association, correct? An officer, if I'm not mistaken?
And that's correct. And again, I mean, people are listening to this, and I don't want to bore people. That's not what we're here about. But I do want the community, because this is what happens. They see the sign, and it's something interesting. Like I've come to realize that they see the persona Edgar Juarez and Justicia con Juarez, but they know the name, but then after that, they're like, well, who is this guy? And so that's why I think it's important that I relay this. And so you're absolutely right. So some of my professional organizations that I belong to is here in Maverick County, all the attorneys in town, and there's, believe it or not, like there's like, I think we're about like 75 attorneys. It's a lot of attorneys, that between 50 and 75 attorneys, and we all belong to an organization, and it's called I see that El Abogado Más Perro. It's an inside joke. They say that sometimes I'm a junkyard dog when I'm out there fighting, and so that's an inside joke, and I appreciate that comment, Beto. Ese de tío, awesome. Thank you so much. But as I was commenting, I lost my train of thought when I comment. I'm sorry, Isaac. Do you know where I was at? And I apologize.
We were talking about the attorneys, that there were 75 attorneys.
Yeah. And so you're absolutely right. So all those organizations, that group, we're an organization, and we have to elect leaders. And I was very humbled that we took a vote, and they elected me as a leader of them, one of the officers. Now, I am not the president, but I am an officer. But also along those lines, there is a group of attorneys. A lot of them are from Eagle Pass that are also part of the Federal Bar Association. So I'm not only an officer here in Maverick County with the organization belonging to all the attorneys from Maverick County, but if you practice in Eagle Pass, and we're talking about attorneys from San Antonio, we're talking about Del Rio, and all the encompassing areas, we also have an organization for us there. And I'm also a part. I'm also have a leadership position in that role. So yes, my professional organizations, I belong to the Maverick County Bar Association. I'm an officer there. I also belong to the Federal Bar Association. I'm an officer there. And then you're not going to believe this, but I'm also an officer in the Valverde. So just like Maverick County has their set of attorneys, Valverde Del Rio has also their set of attorneys, and I'm also an officer there. But again, I don't want to bore people with that aspect. But I've also been officers, like I said, a PTO officer. I've also been a band booster officer. I've been involved in church activities. So yes, you are correct in those regards.
Now, I think a lot of people don't understand that attorneys, just like anybody else in the community that works somewhere, of course, we all have difficulties in our work, or some certain things that makes the job a little difficult, or something that you have to go around or work through, or just like any other position or any other work that you may have, as an attorney, do you see, or can you tell us what kind of difficulties that you have faced lately, as far as getting your job done, or getting whatever it is you need to get to the final product of where you're going? Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Well, one of the things that I would say as a defense attorney, a lot of the times we're faced with situations like people that obviously did the offense, and so in regards to that, we may have some obstacles in trying to get the best outcome of it. And in those regards, sometimes it's difficult because people say, "Well, wait a minute, this guy did this offense. Why are we helping him out?" And again, it's not necessarily getting somebody off. What it is, it's making sure that justice is served. Instead of like I've mentioned before, let's punish him. Maybe punishment isn't the right answer. Maybe it's rehabilitation that's the answer. And the other thing that I also, in regards to obstacles and things of that nature, aside from it, is that we have just gone through a pandemic. Okay. And so I get this question asked a lot. So like when somebody comes in and says, can you help me out, Mr. Juarez? And I say, certainly. And they're like, well, how long is this going to take? I want my justice, and because there's a slogan that says, justice delayed is justice denied. And what does that mean? That means that if you're not getting justice soon, then it's not really, you're not getting justice at all. And so one of the things one of the struggles that we've had lately as attorneys is that there's a backlog because of the COVID. Offices were closed, and because of that, we do have a backlog in the judicial system. And so I'm hoping that there's a change coming to that. So that's one of the obstacles as an attorney that I face, and so I think that those things need to be addressed, and I'm hoping that I can make a change in those regards.
One thing I do want to bring up, I see here in the comments, I don't know if you can take a quick read. That's a. I glanced at it and I'm reading it, and that's something special right there.
Look, Isaac, and I'll tell you this: when I see that, and I'm not one to cry easily or anything like that, but when I see comments like that, it really, aside from being humbling, it really takes me back. Mr. Vale Villano Guerra, he I get people from the community that come up to me and they tell me, you know what, Mr. Juarez, I'm never going to forget you because you changed my life, and sometimes because we're in and out and we fight so long. And I'll be honest, like as a defense attorney, it's a losing battle. It really, really is. We're not gonna win because you gotta understand that when somebody gets arrested, it goes through a process that by the time it gets to a court, it's supposed to be the cases that are for sure. They're supposed to like filter them, like my good friends at the DA's office. It's not they're not prosecutors, and I do tip my hat off to Roberto Serna and AJ Racheta, and I give them a shout out because they're not persecutors, they're prosecutors. So you got to understand that by the time it gets to that level, we're on the losing end. We are on the losing end, and so we see sometimes we don't get the results that we want, but sometimes we're able to do that. And for like instance, this individual, he was looking at 6 years in jail. And I'm just so happy that I was able to get him a probation sentence. Because why? Because instead of sitting in that jail for 6 years, rotting away, his life rotting away, not becoming a productive member of society, in fact, being a burden on our taxpayer, I'm just so fortunate that I was able to give him that opportunity through my work that he's a success story. He instead of going through jail, he was given probation. He was given an opportunity to rehabilitate himself, and I see that day in and day out, and that's why I fight. I mean, that's one of the things that people will tell me. Mr. Juarez, we saw you in court, and you really, really fought for me, and you really, really fought for me, and because at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants is justice. We need justicia. And again, that's a slogan that I came up with, justicia con Juarez, and people remember that because it's so fitting, because that's what we're seeking. We're seeking justice. We're seeking, we're tired of all the shenanigans that's going on right now. And we see it in Eagle Pass, and we see it in Maverick County, and people are ready to say, you know what? We're not going to take this anymore. And it's very sad porque lo están haciendo a lo descarado. It's just blatant now, And when you see these things, people, when they seek me, they say like, oh, maybe Mr. Juarez can help me. And I don't profess to be the end-all answer and a be-all, end-all to everything. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I do want to make a difference, and that's why I fight, and I greatly appreciate those comments. They're very humbling to me, and so thank you.
No, yeah, I mean that's pretty impressive because a lot of people don't want to share their stories, their personal stuff, and for Mr. Guerra, he's kind of putting himself out there, of course, but it's a success story because of whatever he did go through, and you were able to help him. I mean, that's got to make you feel nice, warm and fuzzy on the inside, huh?
And one of the comments that I made, somebody says, "Mr. Juarez, you ramble on." Hello, I'm an attorney, but I take constructive criticism. So I am going to just answer the questions and not ramble on, hopefully.
Well, I mean, one thing that I did what caught my ear right now a little bit a while ago, and you said it about 2 or 3 times, um, was public servant.
Mhm.
So my question is, having said that,
Mhm.
having you boost up your campaign to be visible. I mean, we've seen you through multiple events. I mean, you've been out there in wrestling events. You've been out in the parades. You've been out in Halloween giving candy, and not just in our community, but surrounding communities. Some
Hey, don't
people
forget the sports. You see me in sporting events. The
exactly
softball, the women's softball team.
everywhere, everywhere.
Somebody said this. They told me this. I thought it was hilarious. They said, Mr. Juarez, we see you everywhere. He says, in fact, the other day I was driving through Eagle Pass and I got lost. And then I took a left turn and I was completely lost. And then I see your picture. Even when I'm lost, I see you, Mr. Juarez. And I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was yeah. So no, you're absolutely right. You have seen me. And again, um, I have always been, and this is key. I have always been involved with the community. I just haven't exposed it to the people to see this. And so yes, you're absolutely right. I try to be as involved, not only sporting events like you mentioned. I was very fortunate. There was a back to school. I was able to give out supplies. And you're right. It's not only been in Eagle Pass because I believe that we have. There's a because I am an attorney. I have cases in Carrizo, and I also have cases in Cristal, and so I go to court over there. And so you're absolutely right. You have seen me. I've done events. I've done trick or treating events in Carrizo, and I don't know anybody that's Carrizo, but I shout out to those beautiful people out there. I've helped and donated and supported organized sports over there. And I'm just going to briefly tell you in regards to organized sports. I think that's important. I think it's very similar to band. You build self-esteem, you build camaraderie. And the reason I focus on that is because the children are going to be our leaders of tomorrow, and so I think it's very, very important that we support them. Oh, that's right. I also help you vet. That's correct. I have been to a couple of the veterans events. I have sponsored some other things. I've done it, and it's not just about, oh, here's a donation. No. You gotta get involved, man. You gotta get your hands in there. And so not only do I give to these organizations, but I also participate and I listen to what they say, and I'm hearing a lot from the community, and so that's absolutely right.
That's great. Now, like I mentioned, we've seen you. You're out there. It's kind of raises our antennas a little bit. I mean, recently you boosting. You did say the word campaign. You did say public servant a couple of times.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to ask the question, Edgar.
Sure. You can ask.
Are we going to be seeing you running for something soon out here lately? I mean, I know you
And,
like.
and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be very quiet, very frank. The answer is yes. Yes, you will see me. I think it's time. I think we need change. I think we need positive change to help our community. Hey, I respect what people have been doing for years, but when times are changing, they are, and we can't think we can't be old school. Uh, the analogy I heard someone say, and it's like you can't be a typewriter when the era is computers. You know what I'm saying? And so we just gotta move into the future, and we're very fortunate because we've seen a lot of candidates that and you've seen that change. You may not agree with. I'll give you an example. You may not agree with the decisions of Rolando Salinas, but he's a new mayor. He came back. Those are new leaders. How would the old regime? Another thing, you might not approve of Elias Diaz, our city council, but I think the reason for it is because people were ready for a change because what they saw there, it wasn't working, and so another candidate, you may or may not agree with Peter Cheta, and again, I think, you're starting to see this. You're starting to see that there are new faces that are coming out. There are new faces that are going out up against the old regime, the status quo here, and you see that, and I want to join that. I want to keep that momentum going.
Okay, and okay, I understand you. You've just confirmed. Well, not for what position, but we are going to see you running somewhere.
Mhm.
So we'll take that, right?
Right.
And you say change, and I believe you're right. I believe that we're at a time in Eagle Pass where we want to see something different.
Mhm.
I can speak a lot for people around my age that we've seen the same people over and over and over, and we still see our community kind of stuck on that neutral or same gear is a analogy I'll use. But what kind of changes are you talking about? I mean, I recognize the change that was brought in with Councilwoman Monica Cruz.
Mhm.
Uh, there changes with Mayor Salinas, changes with Elias. You're absolutely right. Whether change to one way or the other, there was change. The
Mhm.
stagnation is falling off. That um, staying stuck between a rock and a hard place, la misma gente, that's changing.
Mhm.
When you say change, what is the change that Attorney Edgar H. Juarez wants to bring to our community?
Okay, so what I want is uh, justicia, justicia con Juarez. That's what I want. That's what I'm talking about. I want to be where you show up to Eagle Pass and they don't say like, well, if you don't know somebody, you're gonna get left behind. That's the mentality that we can't keep going and doing the same thing. What is that thing about you keep doing the same? Insanity is trying to do the same thing again, and you're in the same results. And so that's what we need to do in that aspect. I think we need new innovative ideas. We need those are the things that I'm that I'm looking, um, that we if you're gonna get somewhere, it's because of your merit and because you deserve it, and that's not because I know you, porque ahí te ayudé, ahí te encargo, and that's the type of change that I'm seeking. That's the type of things that I would like to see in our community. I like I said, I raised my family here, you know, and uh, and so I want to be proud, because I say I am from Eagle Pass, and I want that to reflect. Instead of like, hey, we made the national news again for whatever reason, porque metieron a gente al bote, or and that's not what it's all about. What it's all about is we need people in key leadership positions, and it's little by little. And I just want to do my part. I'm not gonna be the answer to everything, and so yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we want change. What objectives do you have, or what kind of goals would you like to see our community grow into? I mean, this could be general ones, or maybe in the legal field, or what kind of objectives do we can we expect from Edgar H. Juarez if he runs for the numerous positions that are out there?
Right. And so, in those regards, I can just tell you that again, uh, I just want a justice, and I'll tell you this, Isaac, when I'm ready to to say, the $1 million question, the announcement, I can be more specific in regards to what type of change we're asking for. But all I'm asking for people is to give me that opportunity to hey, to see what I'm about, to see who Edgar Juarez is, and that's what I'm trying to get across here.
Okay, Edgar. I guess another question that we might have. I know a few people there are asking, asking, what you're going to run for, but I think you've answered that. But when it goes down to it, a lot of people, I guess, they don't really realize when we go out. Of course, we need more people and more people every year whenever we do have elections. But a lot of people don't realize that the elections that we are, or the people that we're voting for now, are going to impact our children and how our children are raised, how our children are growing up as a community as a whole. Because we tend to follow in the footsteps of what we see and how our things are done. Let me see. Sorry, there's somebody there asking about how would you change things if you would run for a county judge. And we have others, post from your real account, because you do have a little bit of banter is going here back and forth. But one of the key things that I think a lot of people miss out on is that, especially when election time's coming out, is they don't really pay attention. They go out and vote, and we're notoriously known in Maverick County for having low voter turnout. And that not only affects us in the immediate. Would you agree? It also affects a community as a whole, but our children in the future.
Oh, definitely. I think our voice is our vote, and so I encourage everybody. Look, I'm reading to some of the comments, and there's people that they're not going to agree with me, and I cannot win everybody. And if that's what you decide, then that's what you decide. But even though we disagree, one of the things I think that we can agree on is let's register to vote and vote. Go out and vote because what we see is then people later on complaining, and it's kind of like, well, what did you do? No, well, I didn't vote because I knew it wasn't going to change, and that we need to change that mentality. We do really need to change that. So I'm encouraging everybody, and this is not the first time I sent this message. Throughout elections, I've actually stood out at ballot places promoting going out to vote. I at one point, I don't know if you remember, now the city and the county, they give out little stickers that said I voted. Well, I want to believe that I had a little bit of something to do with that, because initially you would only see this in other cities. And I actually went and I purchased I voted stickers. And when people would come out, I would give them an I voted sticker. And at that time, the reason I would do it is so that people could wear the sticker and then it reminds someone else. So that's very important. Going out to vote, I promote going out to vote. I promote registering. If you want to go register with the Maverick County Democratic Party, I believe their office is open. You can go and they'll help you register. But if you want to go and register with the Republican Party, they have their offices here, and go out. And so, yes, I think that's very, very important.
And several, I guess one of the things that we want to ask, and it's more of for the community and everything, is that what can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? If I mean, I know you can't tell us what position you would be running for, but how about telling us why we should go vote for you whenever you do come out and tell us what position you would be running for?
Okay, so basically,
generalized, of course.
No, of course. I would tell you this. I have to remind myself, and this is the truth, I have to remind myself that I am no better than anybody else. With all the degrees or whatever you have, because I'm an attorney, this and that. And I try to be as humble as possible, and I try to pay respects to everybody. In fact, a lot of the times I'll be sitting eating somewhere, and somebody will, at the end, I hand them my card, and then they say, "Oh, it's you," and then they'll make a comment, and I'll be honest, it's a conscious thing that I do, and so the reason I do it is because I'm telling you, I'm real. I am a real person that sees these things, and so in those regards, the changes that are coming are changes that we need in our community. um, and you can't have these people that just they think so highly of themselves that uh, they belittle the other people, and you see that when people start taking office, you see that they're and so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be as real as possible. Again, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. In fact, if you don't believe me or trust me, but I want to show this community that the actions that I'm doing is because I care about it. I want to be involved. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm ready for change, and I want change because I do love this community. Man, I'll tell you, Eagle Pass. I believe that we get the best of both worlds. And what do I mean by that? Number one, we live in the United States, so the opportunity for our business, we learn the English language, we get the education that we also live right next to our border, which is a lot of the Hispanic culture. So we still have the quinceañeras, we still watch, the whole culture, and I believe that we get the best of both worlds, and so I just want to take that and give back to the community.
Awesome. And I see you get I think they're already quoting you with the
That can't stay with typewriters in a world of computers. Yeah, hey, I'm the first one to say it. I didn't come up with that, but that's the thing. Is like, you know what? You need to listen to what the people say, and the people are saying that we need change. That's what people are saying, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm just absorbing what the community is saying. And so, and for that, like I said, I don't come up with all these things, but I heard that and I said, you know what? I think if I'm ever interviewed, especially with the rising Texan, I'm going to go ahead and use that line.
No, and you know what? I think it's kind of refreshing because I think you hit the nail on the head that we do have some elected officials that think so highly of themselves, and I'll go back to some of them that we've tried to interview, and for whatever reason they don't answer our messages or just read them and leave them as is, and I've heard several other ones that were interested. I try to reach through different channels and hey, can you get me an interview? And no, well, he's unreachable, and I don't think he's going to give you an interview and this and that. And I'm like, I mean, to me, I see why not. I'm not trying to say you have to interview us, but I feel that any elected official, whether it's a JP, a constable, a commissioner, a judge, anything, I think that you should be available to anybody that wants to interview you or be available to take questions, because that's what you sign up for whenever you're a public servant. And I think that's one thing that maybe some of the elected officials we do have here in Maverick County and maybe in our district have forgotten who are the people that put you in that seat. And it is our community. It is our residents, our citizens here. And I don't want to say that elected officials owe us that, but I mean, I would not see why an elected official would not want to take an interview.
Mm-hmm.
Can you comment a little bit real quick about that?
Well, certainly, it goes back to what I was saying about transparency. We need to be transparent, and I'm going to tell you why we need to be transparent. Because the layperson, the common folk, has just lost trust in our government, and so I think it's important. The community We elected you. We're your bosses. You're a public servant. That means that you're serving us. And so I don't only think that 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 not only do I think that we should question our leaders, I think it's our duty and our obligation to do that. And the reason for it is because we live in a democratic state.
Mhm.
You know, I honestly believe that there's some people like, wait a minute, you shouldn't question me. No, 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 no. Not only should I question you, I, I should. That's my obligation. And so, in those regards, I think that yeah, I wouldn't. I don't get. I just don't get it. And I think you had people that you agree with and people that you have not agreed with, and you've interviewed those people, and um, and and did take the tough questions. Oh, one of the things that I did, one of the comments that I saw is there somebody asked, "Am I a Democrat or am I a Republican?" Okay, and so I need to address this. Well, first of all, number one, when I was growing up, I was in high school. A government teacher made an assignment, and they said, "We need to figure out whether you're a Democrat or Republican." I had no idea what that was. I mean, I was in high school, and so I took it. There was a test, and they asked me, "Well, do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Right? Do you agree with this? And then do you agree with that?" And this back and forth, back and forth. And at the end of the test or whatever they said, I realized, that my views at that time with growing up uh, were I had a lot of like the Republican view. Believe it or not, and it was more of the moral at that time. It was more like the moral, ethical views of the Republican Party that I aligned with. And so I remember in high school, I said, "Well, I guess I'm a Republican." And then I went over and I started college, and I was very fortunate to study in Austin. And then I started realizing, and I started digging more into it. And then I realized that the social aspect of it uh, and the economic aspect, I align more with a Democratic Party. Because I'm going to tell you, I grew up pobre. I was poor, man. I lived in Section 8 housing. We had food stamps, and I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you did this, but there were like little food stamp dollar bills that you would go to the store and get. I remember that when I turned into the seventh grade, my parents said, "You need to start working." And I remember working on that whole summer, during that whole summer, to raise enough money. And I think the whole summer was like something like $300 that I saved up, and that was to buy my school supplies and my clothes. And I'm proud to say that since the seventh grade, I worked every summer, and I could say that the things that I needed, I was able to pay for myself. I was so proud that I was able to buy my own car. I was able to save. Back then, things a long way. $20 could take you a long way. So in those regards, um, I started realizing that, you know what, I aligned more with the Democratic Party. And then so I finished at the university and this and that. And I would tell you this. I'm not an extremist. That has never been my political views. But in this country, there's two parties, and I now, if I were to run as a public servant, it would be as a Democrat. But you got to understand that you can't just dismiss me like that. Oh, he's a Democrat. Okay, then I'm gonna hate him, because that's why our country is so divided. And it kind of, not only do you see that at the national level, but you also see it here locally. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's kind of like, if you don't belong to this political group or this political machina, then I'm against you. And I don't care what you say or what ideas you have, if they're good or bad. I'm just not going to hear you out. And I don't think that that's the right thing to do. I think that the right thing to do is look at the person, see what the values are, see what they bring to the table, see what their vision is. And so instead of talking about Democratic or Republican, we should talk about individuals and see and look at it that way. And so yeah, definitely. If anything, I would say that I am in the middle. You know,
No, yeah. Well, it's my take on it is that I think a lot of us in our culture, we don't really realize, like you said, the moral aspect of it. That we're actually a little more conservative than we realize. And I mean, lately you have good and bad of both parties. I like to say that I'm not really, aligned with a party myself. I'm more for our individual people. I'm for the people, and that's why we don't really, go one way or the other. But we like to always hear the opinions because, I mean, our opinions is what makes us who we are, and everybody should be allowed to express those opinions.
Yes, I completely agree. But what I think I've come to the point where I'm just gonna have to do a shameless plug, Isaac. La gente aquí de Eagle Pass, de Maverick, la gente bonita que me está viendo, que me está escuchando. Si usted tiene un problema legal, si usted necesita justicia, si usted está diciendo, yo necesito a alguien que pelee por mis derechos, márqueme, hábleme. Mi nombre es su servidor, Edgar Juarez, y Justicia con Juárez. Me pueden encontrar en mi Facebook page, en Attorney Edgar Juárez, o también me pueden marcar al 830-752-0686. Me pueden mandar mensaje, a marcarme, mensaje, me pueden hacer un mensaje por WhatsApp. De nuevo, Edgar Juárez, su servidor, Justicia con Juárez.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining us, Edgar. I mean, we really do appreciate you taking the time. We know that you're a busy man, and we know we've seen you everywhere lately, so we can't imagine how busy that schedule's been. But we really appreciate you, taking the time, as like I mentioned, others have not. So we appreciate that, and being accessible, especially to our viewers, the people that do follow the Rising Texan that we have going on here, and we really appreciate that. Any last minute or a last saying that you want to say to the public, anything like that?
No. Again, I just want to let everybody know that if you see me out in public, feel free to reach out to me. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, or reach out to me. I'll sit down with you. We can sit down and discuss these matters, our differences. And again, in this world, one thing that I realize is that I'm not going to win the hearts of everybody. But I think that what I'm going to do is I just want people to get to know me. And then after they get to know me, then they make their decision.
Well, thank you again, Attorney Edgar H. Juarez, for taking the time. And we're going to be looking forward to an announcement, for what position. A lot of people are interested.
The $1 million question. No. And again, Isaac, thank you so much for letting me be on the show. I think I reach out a lot of people. And I think it's important. Yeah, I think a lot of people know the persona Edgar Juarez, but I think in interviews like this really give me an opportunity to explain a little bit about myself. I would tell you, just give me an opportunity to get to know you. And so once again, Isaac, you keep fighting the good fight. And thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Edgar. You have a wonderful night.
All right. Thank you.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's interview. We brought it to you because, where we were interested. We've seen Attorney Edgar H. Juarez out there, and we wanted to know, what's going on, what's happening. He did confirm to us he will be running. He didn't tell us what position, but we look forward and we'll keep you up to date As soon as we hear anything from his campaign, anything like that from him personally, we're going to go ahead and see and report to you guys what position Attorney Edgar H. Juarez will be running for. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Again, as always, we appreciate your support, tuning into these videos. That gives us a big boost. If you can please share our interview with Attorney Edgar H. Juarez. If you can support us directly, we have a Cash App, the Rising Texan Media. We really appreciate you guys. But if you can't, we appreciate if you guys can go out and support the people that do sponsor our shows, and they sponsor these shows. Their names come out in our scrolling ticker every single show, and we really appreciate the sponsors for coming out and taking care of the growth that we're trying to do with this show. So a quick shout out to our sponsors, Rodriguez Consulting and Services, 830-971-4068. Law offices of Edgar H. Juarez, Justicia con Juarez, 830-752-0686. Viva Canine Dog Training, Grooming, and Boarding Center, 830-513-3523. Wagon Wheel Smokehouse and Saloon, 830-513-7250. Again, guys, we interviewed Attorney Edgar H. Juarez. We're going to be seeing him shortly running for a position here in Maverick County in the district. And we look forward to seeing that. And we hope that we'll be seeing that very soon from Edgar H. Juarez with his announcement. That way we can go ahead and know what he's going to be representing our community out there for. And we wish him nothing but the best of luck. We went ahead and posted our Cash App on the comments of anybody that wants to support. Again, if not, we ask that you please support our sponsors. Again, they're the ones that help us with the growth of this channel. And please share. At the very least, please share this video so we can go ahead and try to reach as many people as we can with our interviews, our podcast here. Again, this is Isaac Reese with the Rising Texan podcast. We featured today in our interview Attorney Edgar H. Juarez. Y'all have a good night. Eagle Pass, Maverick County. Thank y'all for showing up. Catch us next week.